Hello everyone, welcome to Straight Talk on Social Media. This is Ian Desher, Digital Marketing Specialist from Pivot Group, talking to you on Friday, August 17th. I want to remind you before we start today, in your GoToWebinar control panel you have the ability to ask questions. If you'd like to do so, that would be great. We have a guest presenter today, I'm happy to report, and that's Katie Goodell, our marketing coordinator. She's going to be talking about making the most out of Facebook contests. So she has great material for us, and we'll look forward to hearing from her in just a couple minutes. First, I have just a handful of news items, so let's jump right into those. Google Plus has started offering some companies, mostly really big companies, some custom URLs. So instead of the URL that most of us have with Google Plus, now they're starting to have things like google.com/Coke or something along those lines. So that's something to look out for. I assume that eventually that's going to be rolling out to smaller companies. So that's something that we'll keep you updated on as it happens. Pinterest, speaking of social media sites sort of opening their doors a little more, Pinterest has just recently opened its doors to all comers. It used to be an invitation-only website, and now it is no longer by invitation only. Not that it was very hard to get an invitation, but now you can go to the website and you see this this little screen that tells you that you can go ahead and sign up, and it gives you the option there to sign up using either your Facebook and Twitter accounts as normal and as before, or using just an email address, so that you have those options with Pinterest now. And one to watch this week is a social media site that's fairly new called Vide. Vide just got a sort of bump because Justin Timberlake, my kids would be furious with me. Justin Bieber actually said something about Vide, and you know, I think he talked about it on an interview that he was in. But basically what Vide is it's sort of YouTube meets Twitter. So it's people upload videos of sort of what's going on, what's happening, but the videos have to be 15 seconds or fewer. So we're talking about really short little clips about where you are, what you're doing, just sort of pithy little things. So it's an interesting concept, and it is sort of gaining some traction now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Vide, and Vide may be one that I'm talking about a little bit more in my next webinar in a couple weeks, but more about that at the end. I'm actually going to hand it over now to Katie. She's going to be talking with us on Straight Talk on making the most of contests. Again, if you have any questions as she goes on, just put those into the bar, and we'll take those at the end. Katie?
Thank you very much, Ian. Thanks, everyone, for listening to the webinar today. I'm excited to present since I administer these webinars for Ian most weeks, and I've never spoken before. So thanks for listening to my voice today. We're talking about making the most of Facebook contests. First question, why would you host a contest? As you can see by these very excited folks, people just love winning, and I'm sure you wouldn't deny that. But also the possibility of potentially winning, which you see in how many people buy lottery tickets versus how many people actually win the lottery. And so offering some sort of a contest is an exciting way to engage your customers. Another good reason to host a contest is just that it's fun. Main point of social media is building relationships, and having fun with your customers and your community is a great way to encourage that. You can also gather email addresses, names, or other information about your customers or your community members through running a contest. And it's important to set goals in the beginning of a contest too. What do you hope to gather from this contest, or what do you hope to encourage your customers and community to do? You can use contests to promote specific services or product launches. It's a great tactic to have along with the rest of your social media campaign. And especially for some of our telco clients on there, I think social media contests are great because it not only encourages relationships between you and your customers, but it also encourages them to use your product, which might be their internet connection. So that's cool to get them involved in a contest in a new way that might use a product that you supply to them. And of course, hosting a social media contest will drive traffic to your website, and it can add more fans to your Facebook page, which is always a great goal to have. And so while it's sort of a no-brainer to have a contest, you can do some wrong in hosting a Facebook contest. Facebook has a pretty extensive list of what you can and cannot do when you're running a contest using their technology. So make sure that when you're reading a contest, you read through the Facebook page's terms. Some of the most important things to remember, you may think, oh, it's easy, we'll just offer a prize on our page, and whoever likes our page can be entered to win this prize. But Facebook says that's actually not allowed, so be careful with what you think might just be a simple contest. You might be breaking Facebook's rules, and probably the worst thing that could happen is Facebook can actually go through and shut down pages that are not following their terms. So we don't want that to happen to any of you. A good way around this, which most pages and companies will use, is you can use a Facebook tab or an application to run your contest. And I know Ian's talked about different Facebook tabs in the past, and we're going to show some examples of how people have done this. But basically what that is pulling in information or content from a different website that's not actually hosted on Facebook. And so then you can run a contest and kind of go around Facebook's stipulations of what sort of information you can request or what sort of activities you can request of your likers. So an example, you are not allowed to have fans. I'm going to talk about contests where you ask your likers to submit different information or different content, and you're not allowed to have them, in order to win a contest, just submit a photo or a video or a comment or something like that directly on your wall or on your timeline. But you are allowed to do that through an application. And so that's part of Facebook's terms as well, that you can't actually use specific Facebook technology in order to enter them to win a prize. So we'll give you more examples of that as we go on. And then we talked about this again, but just to reinforce, you can automatically enter everyone who likes your page. So I'm going to go through a couple different contest ideas today. We have the content submission contest, a guessing game contest, a simple like contest, and a sweepstakes contest. So some of these might look familiar. I know some of you have already run successful Facebook contests in the past, so these are just a couple different ideas that I've seen and that we think could work well for some of you. So the first is the content submission contest. Here's an example. This company is called Fuzzy Nation, and they make, of course, custom fashion items for your dog. And so they're also big advocates of rescue pets and adopting strays. And so this is their page. Their contest is the supermodel contest. Basically, they are, kind of crowdsourcing a new spokesdog. I don't know if they speak, a barking model for their brand. And so they're encouraging people to submit photos of their pets. And what don't people love if it's not submitting photos of their pets? And so as you can see, so from their home page, you click on that supermodel photo tab right there in the kind of center right. And then it takes you to this page, which encourages you to go to the app. So this is an example of using a third-party app to run their contest. And then once you enter that, it also asks you, would you allow Fuzzy Nation to post on your behalf? Which this could be a goal of your Facebook contest, to have your likers give you access to their timelines. It's a lot to ask of likers. I don't know if you have allowed other pages to do this on your personal page before, but I'm always a little bit skeptical of, well, what are you going to post on my behalf? I don't want someone masquerading as me on Facebook and posting something. But that said, if it's a brand that I really support and I think that it will somehow help me win, I might say allow. But anyway, that's just something that Fuzzy Nation did in this case. And so then you go to the contest and they say, we're looking for the next Fuzzy supermodel. You could win $10,000 for the shelter where you adopted your dog from, and your dog would be featured on a bag and all sorts of great things. So first it encourages you to like the page. So this is a good example of gaining more likers on your Facebook page. You're not actually allowed to enter this contest until you like the page. So right there you're accomplishing one of your goals. and then it brings you to the actual submission form where you enter all your information, story about your dog. There's something down below where you enter the actual photo, and they do have the terms and conditions right there, which is important to Facebook. So it looks to me like they're following all the Facebook rules, which is good. This is another contest. I found this company and I thought it was pretty cool. It's called Simple Bills, and it was interesting to me because I live in a house with 5 roommates, and it's kind of tricky to all work together to pay our bills. But with this website that I just found, it lumps all your bills together and then bills each roommate separately, so you all pay the same amount. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool, and they had a good example of a social media contest. It was also similar to the Fuzzy Nation one, where you like their page, and then once you've liked their page, they ask you to submit a photo or a story or a video, I think, of your best roommate story, and then you could win $500. And so a lot of them were videos, and it was interesting because asking your likers to submit a photo or a video more than a photo, again, it's a lot to ask. You know, you might not have a photo or a video on hand of your roommate. You might actually go out and try to make the best video of your roommate or something. But if the prize is good enough, then people might be willing to kind of put forth more effort in their submission. You know, or it's sort of like an essay contest, or people just going to write a paragraph about why their dog should be the model, or are they going to spend a long time and craft an amazing essay. And so it's important to keep in mind that when you are doing a submission-based contest, that you don't want to ask too much of your fans because you don't want to deter people from entering. Unless, of course, that's a goal, because that could be a goal of your contest too, to gather content from your likers. So another thing I was going to say was interesting about the Simple Bills one is it looks like they kind of padded it with some videos that they made themselves, which I thought was interesting. And I don't know if I would recommend or not recommend that. I don't know what you think, Ian, but it was just interesting that if you are doing a submission-based contest, you have to remember that you might not get as many submissions as you expect, and so it's important to just know that that will be visible to everyone, and so either do a great job promoting, which you should anyway, or just be aware that you may not get as many submissions as you expect. And so here was the submission form. And then the Simple Bills one was different also because it didn't ask me to download an app. It was just a simple like the page, and now you have the ability to enter. Now I have the ability to enter my name, email, and a photo of my roommate. Okay, the next kind of contest we're going to talk about is a guessing game contest. This is an example I found from the Yarmouth Chamber of Commerce, and they, right down here, use the Enter to Win tab, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. And so when you click that tab, you're taken to this page, which is, yeah, Facebook tab, and it's they just show a photo, and then they say, where are we? Guess the photo location for a chance to win. And so you're able to enter your name, email, zip code, and your guess of where they are. And my guess is Yarmouth, but Ian told me maybe I need to be more specific than that. And so as you can see, here's another example of how you can gather more information from the participants of your contest. You know, maybe they wanted the zip code, like they didn't ask that in the other ones, but maybe that's information that Yarmouth Chamber of Commerce intended to gather with this contest. So it's pretty simple. Just Facebook tab, enter your name, and you're entered to win. Another example of a guessing game contest is the Pivot Picket contests, which I'm very involved in that project here at Pivot, and it's lots of fun, and I know a lot of you have played this before. So March Mania is one we do. It's March Madness, basically, where you go through the 64-team NCAA basketball bracket and guess who will win. And so it's hosted, again, on a separate website, so that fits with Facebook's stipulations. And but you can still promote it on your page. That's important to remember, that even though your contest might be elsewhere, not on Facebook, you can still, and you should, definitely promote it on your page. And one of our clients, Next Tech, does a great job of that here. The next contest I'm going to talk about is just a simple like contest. As I said at the beginning, you're actually not allowed to just say, whoever likes this page is entered to win X prize. But we found this sort of interesting way around it, which I'm not sure if this is exactly a contest, but it is definitely a great use of Facebook and a great way to engage your likers. This is from the Banff Aspen Lodge in Banff, Alberta, and they ran what they're calling it a contest, but basically what it is they said that when we reach 1,000 likes or 1,000 Facebook friends, we're going to release a special promo code for a good deal at their lodge. And so it's really a refer a friend kind of promo, because they're encouraging you to encourage other people to like it, and as soon as it reaches capacity, everyone gets a deal. It kind of reminds me of Groupon a little bit, of like the tipping point, that as soon as we have 1,000 people who like this, we're going to release a promo code for all of you. So it's not one of you will win a specific prize, which would not follow the Facebook guidelines, but it's we will give an added value of being a Facebook fan of ours, which I thought was a creative way to encourage people to use their page. And this is the only sample contest example that we're giving today that doesn't use a Facebook app or a tab, which is interesting, but they do a good job of it and still encourage likers. The next idea we're going to talk about is the Sweepstakes contest. This is, I don't know if it's the most simple, but it's maybe the most basic contest you would think of. This example is from New Life Threads, which is a nonprofit that Dave Newstratton's family and Pivot Group has been involved in getting started. And so at New Life Threads, once you go to the page, there's a tab on the home page that says click to enter to win. And then you get this screen that says like us to enter. So similar to like the Fuzzy Nation one or the Simple Bills one, you have to like, well, all of them actually, you like it first, and then you are given this next page where you can see what you'll win. New Life Threads sells bags that are imported from Rwanda, and all of the profits go back to the Rwandan women who made them and the programs that support them. So to win one of these bags, you just enter your name, email, some information. There's a drop-down menu there. And yeah, so it's just basic enter to win a product. And this also is hosted on a separate tab. And an important thing to remember, which we will talk about coming up, is when you do host a contest on a separate tab, you want to be aware of having an SSL certificate in place on the information on the page that tab is using. Okay, so we're going to get into some takeaways. One really important thing with contests, which you all know because you're marketing professionals, is to plan well and promote well. You can have the best idea for a contest, especially like I was saying, those submission-based contests, but if people don't actually participate because they haven't heard about it, it's really no good. So make sure that your customers know that this contest is going. I think it's great to have sort of a ramp-up period of hype of we're starting this contest in 2 weeks, and talk about that on your Facebook page. Also, contests are great because they give you a lot of content for your Facebook page. Sometimes it's hard to know, oh, we posted about that already, what do we post today? But to have a contest to talk about adds a lot of value, and so that's exciting. So definitely, yeah, plan ahead, promote it well, use a variety of means as well, especially if it's a campaign to gain likers. You can use, different things like radio spots or bill inserts or banners on your own website. Maybe people who are customers or fans of you but have not made the jump to be a Facebook fan yet. So make sure you promote in many different places. This might be obvious, but the better the prize, the better the response. Especially in those submission-based contests, and really any contest, if you're asking someone to give something of themselves, even if it's just their email address or even if it's just them clicking that button, they're definitely more likely to do it if you have a great prize. It's good to maybe survey your customers, see what kind of prizes they're interested in. Also look around in the community, see what other kind of companies might be doing similar sweepstakes or similar prizes, because if another local business is offering a similar contest with a much better prize or a much lesser prize, then that could just not be, that could be awkward for your community board meetings or something. But yeah, make sure that the prize is something that your customer will appreciate, and it's great if you are able to use your services or use a discount on something that they are already receiving from you. That can definitely be incentivizing, and yeah, just make sure that it's something that people want to win. keep it simple and don't require too much of your likers. I think we talked about that a lot, but some of those apps that do require you to, or require them to allow you to post on their page, maybe that's requiring too much, or maybe, submit a 15-minute video about your favorite product of ours. That might be too much. People might not do that. So just make sure you keep it reasonable and not too much, so people are willing to participate. Make sure you follow the Facebook guidelines. I touched on these, but any contest you run, make sure you're on Facebook and you look at the Facebook page terms, and that'll really detail everything you'll need to know about that. What I mentioned earlier about SSL certificates, we also had a question about what's the difference between a tab and an app, and I think Ian can help me answer that more eloquently. But with the tab, it's really important that basically what that is it's pulling information in from another website onto your Facebook page. And so a lot of users in your privacy settings, you can choose to browse Facebook securely, and if that tab is not secured with an SSL certificate, a lot of times users will get notifications saying you're going into unsecured content or get an error message. And so in order to kind of keep your contest tab in line with the rest of Facebook, you want to make sure that it's secured. And then Ian, do you want to talk about apps a little bit?
Yeah, so an app, the difference, so a tab, like Katie's saying, is something that pulls in content from from another site, whereas an app is actually something that's sort of its own separate program that's going to work with your Facebook information. So those are the ones that actually say, are you going to allow such and such company or such and such app to use your information? And people have to agree to those terms before they can use the app. So an app in some ways is more invasive because you're actually having to have people agree to giving you some of their information and be attached to their profile. Whereas a tab is just sort of they're entering their information into a form generally. So that's the difference basically.
Okay, thank you. Another important thing to remember is to have a follow-up plan. With contests, you might have hundreds, maybe thousands of people enter your contest, be engaged with your company or your page for at least a moment as they're entering. And that's a great opportunity then to follow up with them, especially if it's something specific. We've had some clients who have run a March Mania type contest, so the basketball related one, and maybe only 2 out of 500 people win, but then the rest of those 498 people might get a dedicated e-blast that says something about an upcoming pay-per-view basketball game or something. Something basketball related would be really cool since they signed up for a basketball contest. But regardless of what your follow-up plan is, make sure that your contest entrants know that you saw their entry, you validate them as a customer and as an entrant, and that you are there to build a relationship with them, which was the whole point of the contest. And I like the final takeaway is just to have fun. Contests are fun, and hopefully your customers have fun with them, and so if they're planned well and executed correctly, I hope that you guys will have fun with them as well.
So we've had a number of questions come in, and I'm going to ask Katie the question, and then she can respond to it. So the first one is regarding submission-based contests. Are they actually posted? Are the submissions actually automatically posted, or do you have the option to approve them first?
Well, I think that would probably depend on what sort of app you're using for the submission-based contest. Remember, you're not just doing a submission-based contest saying, post your video on our wall, because that would be against Facebook guidelines. So the way you create the app, and yeah, I think most good Facebook apps that are running a contest for you would allow you to approve the submission before, because yeah, that could get messy if you don't know what your clients or your customers are posting. So definitely a good Facebook app would allow you to approve submissions before you post them.
And there's a question about how do I create the Enter to Win tab, even the simple tab that we're sort of looking at with a form for people to talk about, and I'll address that one. Basically, the Enter to Win tab, all those are doing is it's Facebook sort of providing Facebook's frame and pulling in content from another website. And so normally there are companies that will do this for you, companies that will you know, set up pages for you that Facebook is then going to pull in. We've certainly done that for clients as well, where we're setting up something on somebody's website, and it's usually not a page that anybody could access from within the website. So it's living on the website, but it's not actually accessible through the website itself. But what Facebook is doing is taking that page then and pulling it into Facebook. And there are some ways you do it so that there's some code you do it so that you know, some people are you know, so that when people come to your page and they aren't likers yet, it's going to show them one thing. Whereas when people come and they are likers, it's going to show them a different thing. And when people click the like button, it will automatically switch to something else. So you have to create a couple of different web pages there and sort of know what you're doing with that. But it really is all sort of web-based in terms of how you do that. And if you have any other questions about that, you can send me an email, and I'm happy to talk about that. The next question was, what about having a contest for what gets the most likes? So like if it's in a submission contest, you know, if could people submit their photos and see which one gets the most likes, would that be a legal thing?
Actually, no, and it seems like it might be, and you may see other company pages trying these. But the most recent Facebook terms and conditions, which I believe were renewed or revised in November, yeah, that's actually, because since that would be using Facebook's like technology to administer your contest, that's actually not allowed. So the way around that, again, is to use the Facebook app, and through that you can do a voting system, and then whoever votes for, you know, whichever submission gets the most votes, that would win.
And I think ultimately the reason Facebook has these guidelines the way they do, I think they don't want anybody, if somebody gets unhappy about a contest, they don't want somebody suing Facebook about it, right? I mean, I think that's sort of all intended to cover Facebook in that regard. The last question we have is it okay to promote a Facebook contest on Twitter and LinkedIn?
Definitely, and that's important to remember. I'm glad someone asked that, especially when you think about it. Since your Facebook is really just a vehicle to get to your contest, when you think about it in an app or in a page or yeah, in a tab. And so you want to cross-promote as much as possible, definitely on Twitter, definitely on LinkedIn, anywhere else that you think your customers are and you want them to see. Talk about it. Talk it up for sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Katie. I appreciate your time, everyone. The next Straight Talk on Social Media webinar will be 2 weeks from today, and we're going to be talking about the best of the rest. And what I mean by that is we're going to look at some of the best social media websites that are out there that maybe aren't the ones you've heard of. They're not Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Pinterest. What are the best of what else is out there? So I'll be looking at some of those in a couple weeks' time. Dave Neustrutten's next Straight Talk on Telco Marketing webinar for our telco clients will be Wednesday, August 29th at 11 o'clock Pacific time. Thank you again for joining us today. Thank you, Katie, for presenting. Remember to keep your media social and your talk straight.